Views and opinions expressed by the On the Spot with David Rodgers show are solely based on the show's host, guests, and viewers. We are solely responsible for all show content in its entirety and does not necessarily reflect the opinions of any sponsors in any way. These broadcasts are presented and made public by the On the Spot with David Rodgers team in the hope that it'll be entertaining and informative to our viewers and listening audience. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it's 7 o'clock and time for On the Spot with David Rodgers. And now, here he is, Mr. Friday Night, the show pony himself, the man, the dream, the legendary David Rodgers.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to On the Spot with David Rodgers. I am the show pony himself, David Rodgers, alongside the Byron Bagwell and Michael Heater, filling in for Mitchell Gunner. Great to have you along. Sponsored by On the Spot Lawn Care. Let the red, white, and blue take care of your green. Call 904-966-1633. And by the Fantastic Fire Brigade, you can have a real fire truck come to visit your next event. Or let our Jambulance rock your party. Call 904-701-FIRE or visit fantasticfire.com.
Hey, it works, doesn't it?
It works.
There you go.
Let's get the show started as we always do. With our prayer, our pledge, and our patriotic quotes of the night. Let us pray. Our righteous Heavenly Father, let us once thank again for a wonderful and glorious day you've given us, dear Lord. Thank you for this time that you allow for us, dear Lord, to bring this show to our viewers and our viewing audience. Not just here locally, dear Lord, but wherever they may be watching from. And as we disseminate the information given, dear Lord, that our viewers take it and they do what they feel they need to do with it. Thank you for letting us live in the greatest country in the world today, the United States of America, the most freest and powerful country in the world today, dear Lord. I know we have our own issues and our own problems, dear Lord, but with your healing hand, you can touch us, dear Lord, and bring back the glory of this great nation. Thank you for our armed forces, each and every one of those men and women that serve each and every day to protect our freedoms, our rights, from not only domestic and international terrorism, but for all that is evil and bad in this world today, dear Lord. Thank the ones that have served, that's given the ultimate sacrifice, their lives, dear Lord, for this great nation as well. Thank you for our first responders, each and every one of those men and women that keep us safe each and every night, dear Lord, and every day. So we can rest our head easy at night, knowing that somebody, in case we get in trouble, dear Lord, will be there to take care of us, dear Lord. Thank you for our truck drivers and everybody that's on the front line of America that makes this country spin and make it the great nation that it is, dear Lord. Anybody with a spoken or unspoken prayer request, dear Lord, you touch each and every one of them. You're the ultimate healer, the ultimate comforter, dear Lord. You please touch each and every one of those young people and people that are going through a crisis, dear Lord. Thank you for the food that we receive each and every day that goes in the nourishment of our bodies and our bodies to thy service. Again, thank you for a great day, a great week that you're going to give us, dear Lord, and let us have a great show tonight. We ask for these things in your Son's name, Jesus Christ, and the congregation says,
Amen.
Amen. All right, going to do a little something different if everybody will stand.
Okay.
We're all going to say a little bit of the pledge.
I like that.
How about that, huh?
I like it.
Yep, you can start it, David.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag,
Of the United States,
of America,
for which it stands,
one nation,
under God,
indivisible,
with liberty
and justice.
for
all, including
Amen.
Hillary Clinton. Oh, sorry.
Well,
Oh, boy.
I'll stop that.
Oh, man, you ruined that whole thing. Yes, you did.
No.
The only time I'm going to get on to you ruined that whole thing.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
No, I had justice for all, man.
You said something else after that.
Oh, I said justice for all. I said all.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. You didn't say anything after that?
Could have said
Never
something about
mind.
it.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. Byron, if y'all don't know Byron, it's great, man. He'll throw a little something in there. But that was the moment that I thought we was going to have something really good, and we didn't.
Yes, we did.
We did?
Yes.
Okay.
Everybody took it seriously, and then everybody got a good laugh.
I didn't. I don't like that name. But anyway,
yeah.
Would you rather me use the Cankle one?
no, never
Okay.
mind. Anyway, welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. My name is David Rodgers. Show's going off the rails already. Right along with the Byron Bagwell. Right along with Michael Heater. Hey, We're going to give you the gateway to reality.
Yes,
we are the new high priest of the Church of the Painful Truth. Thank you, Neil Bortz, for that, right?
Absolutely.
Mr. Neil Bortz, the best to ever do this for sure. One of the best.
One of the best.
To do this for sure.
There you go.
Byron, patriotic quote of the night. Do you have one?
The American Republic will only endure until the day Congress discovers that it can bribe the public with the public's money. Let me do that again. The American Republic will endure until the day Congress discovers that it can bribe the public with the public's money.
You've done this one before.
Not a founding father.
No, it's not.
No.
Matter of fact, I'll even give you one more hint. He's not even American.
Right. No, I know. It's somebody else. Yeah.
I'm going to go Winston Churchill.
Nope. Way before Winston Churchill's
Okay.
time. This guy was around during the time of the founding, and he was very, shall we say, politically active in Europe, and he was a very wise man on a lot of things.
I have a guess. It's not correct.
What is
Huh?
What is it?
De Gaulle.
Nope, it was not De Gaulle. De Gaulle was
I have no.
Thomas Sowell?
not around.
Not around during
No,
that.
that was.
The quote is from Alexis de Tocqueville. See that
Oh,
was
okay.
I was in the right neighborhood.
French
Yeah, French.
political.
You was in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
You got another one?
I can get another one.
I got one.
He's got one. I want to hear.
Tell me and I forget. Teach me and I remember. Involve me and I learn. It is a founding.
That sounds like a Benjamin Franklin quote to me.
Okay. Two Benjamins?
Yeah, I think so.
David, three?
I think 3.
You gonna go 3? You wanna go 4? He's shaking his head. Y'all are exactly right. That is Benjamin
That
Franklin.
really sounds
Nice
something
job
like
there,
that.
guys.
So,
Wow.
That's exactly right.
All right. Hey, don't go anywhere because here comes the round table right after this commercial break.
Hey Tornado fans, this is Kurt Miracle of Miracle Automotive and Towing, proud sponsors of Tornado Football. I want to welcome you to beautiful Stark, Florida at David Hurst Stadium, and thank you for letting us be a part of this community. We're here for more than your automotive and towing needs. We're here to be part of Tornado Country. Go Big Red!
This is the all-new Roundtable. We go around the region, around the table with the latest news and notes. Brought to you by Harry Business in the Deerfoot Plaza, home of the $10 haircut. Call Dave and Company at 904-964-3338. Open Monday through Saturday, 9 to 5. Closed on Sundays. We begin in Putnam County, where multiple agencies spent today searching the St. Johns River in Palatka after a man jumped off the Memorial Bridge this morning. Deputies conducted a grid search using sonar technology to look for a man after several people called 911 to report the jumper going into the water. At last check, the recovery effort was still continuing.
Yeah, absolutely. We jump over to Clay County, where 2 pedestrians were killed in a crash yesterday morning. The initial crash of 2 vehicles sent one vehicle off the road into a ditch area where 2 pedestrians were standing along the shoulder at State Road 21 and County Road 215 south of Middleburg. For those of you that aren't sure, 215 is the cutaway from Camp Blanding headed up towards Middleburg. One of the drivers suffered a minor injury. One pedestrian was pronounced dead at the scene. The second pedestrian died a short time later at a hospital in Orange Park. The investigation by the FHP is continuing.
Alan Parrish, the Bradford County Emergency Services Director, announced yesterday at the County Commission meeting that he was retiring and stepping down this week. The board has appointed Ben Carter as the County Fire Rescue Chief Executive this Friday.
A 1.6-mile section of the Palatka to Lake Butler State Trail has recently been paved from the Bobby Shepherd Ballpark on County Road 325 south of Hampton in Bradford County and runs east to southeast 36th Avenue. Plans are underway to continue paving the trail from the ballpark to County Road 18 later this year, and from Southeast 36th Ave to 100 near Keystone Heights is to be completed in 2023. The trail stretches nearly 47 miles, Byron, from Palatka to Lake Butler along the former Norfolk Southern Railroad right-of-way through Putnam, Clay, Bradford, and Union counties.
Wow. Hey, a reminder of several events coming up in the city of Stark. First, on Flag Day, next Tuesday, there will be a flag retirement ceremony at Schaefer Veterans Park on Call Street. The first 50 people to bring a tattered flag to be retired between 4 and 7 p.m. will receive a brand new flag, courtesy of Bryant's Ace Hardware in Stark. Also, a reminder for those of you that are paying attention to it, on Sunday, July 3rd, the inaugural Splash Bash will be at David Hurst Stadium, where they'll be taking the stadium and converting it into the largest temporary water park in North Florida. That includes fireworks, a cornhole tournament, musical performances, and one of the most famous DJs in the world. All that, and we'll have more on that coming up later in the show.
Clay County District Schools Food and Nutrition Services is offering free breakfasts and lunch to anyone 18 years or younger from June 6th through July 28th, except for July 4th. Breakfast is served 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., and lunch is available between noon and 1 at Keystone Heights Elementary School and McCray Elementary School. No application is necessary.
In a follow-up from a story we broke last month, the Florida Public Service Commission has announced a new area code for Northeast Florida, which will be 324 and will have the same geographic boundaries as the 904 area code, including Jacksonville, Stark, Lottie, and other locations within that 904 area code.
Yeah, exactly right. David, in a telephone conversation I made to the Public Service Commission earlier today, state officials have confirmed that the 324 area code will be used across the same area, and that new numbers could start appearing as early as this summer.
Wow.
This is the reason why, if you remember back in February, we were one of the first agencies to break that the FCC was requiring you to dial 10 digits on your telephones. Like that. We broke that story. This is the reason why. You will now start seeing a 324 area code in Stark, Lottie, and other areas of the 904 area code. Eventually, that is going to break down even further. This is because the 904 area code is running out of phone numbers, running out of prefixes. You will see this change starting in the next few weeks, probably becoming more predominant as we head into the fall and the winter.
Finally, the Bradford County Public Library will kick off its summer library program for children ages 2 to 12 with the Wild Wonders Animal Show with Michael Rossi on Thursday, June 9th, 2022 at 11 a.m. sharp. Dinosaurs Among Us is an interactive program that teaches and entertains children about the wonders of the animal kingdom. See local and exotic animals that use music, story, and humor to enhance understanding of the animal world. Space is limited, so please arrive early to ensure your seating.
I heard that's going to be a pretty good program, too.
Yes. And now, here's your weather forecast for Boston Stevens Weather Service. We're going to be right back with that, and Mr. Michael Heater is going to give us that weather.
This weather report brought to you by Austin's Weather Service out of Keystone Heights. Find Austin's Weather Service on Facebook and have a detailed local forecast sent right to you.
And good evening, everybody. We're glad to have you along with On the Spot with David Rodgers. We've got some interesting weather forecasting that's going to be coming along to us, and that's because we're getting into our summertime pattern. You know, those afternoon showers and thunder boom are starting to come across the area. I refer to them as popcorn thunderstorms. They just suddenly pop up out of nowhere. But as always, let's lead off with the pollen report. And as you can see, the pollen numbers are actually really good today, but they'll be on the increase, but still staying in that low to mid range. 4.7 on Thursday is going to be your high number. It's, again, moderate dealing that, and a lot has to do with the grasses and the fact that we're just dealing with the normal summertime allergy season that's going on with us. Now, regionally, we are going to see a lot of rain from Nashville and Atlanta headed down towards the north side of Mississippi, but Pascagoula, Tallahassee, Stark, and Orlando, sunshine, nice weather, humid, of course, with those afternoon showers and thunderstorms popping off. Look for the forecast to continue to improve as we make our way through the weekend for those areas north of us. But here in Florida, that's going to be a bit of a problem for us. I'll tell you why. Taking a look at the local forecast, and you'll see what we're talking about. For your Wednesday, we're looking at pretty decent weather conditions with isolated showers and storms possible. Thursday, nice conditions, but scattered showers and thunderstorms on Friday as a cold front makes its way through. I say cold front, I'm using that term figuratively, because we're still going to have temperatures in the upper 80s to low 90s. Wednesday, Thursday, we'll hit about 90 degrees in some of the warmer areas, but lows are going to be in the 70s with a lot of humidity. So, you know what? That the cool, refreshing breezes is going to be pretty nice. Here's a little area we want to talk about like that. This was the remnants of Alex that moved across the area like that one. The good news is that this map will show you there is really nothing to worry about now. We are watching some areas of disturbed weather that's going to be forming down south of the Bay of Campeche, but for us, no big deal at all. Looking forward to a pretty decent weather condition. That is the latest from Austin's Weather Service. David, back to you.
Thank you very much, Michael. Great weather report. As always, thank you to Austin's Weather Service, and we'll be back at the end of the show to give you, again, that weather report. Now, again, hey, if y'all haven't came to either trivia, we have trivia on Wednesday nights and Thursday nights. Anybody that lives in a local area probably has come and visit us, Mike, a time or two, but we want to invite people out of the area. We have a special guest, Justin Waters, who's going to be joining us tonight. Right. So if you live in Alachua, if you live in High Springs, hey, and you want to come over to get away for a night, on Wednesday nights, Mr. Michael Heater is the trivia host on Wednesday nights at Fun Point. Starts at 7 o'clock sharp. Mm-hmm. He always has a good crowd over there, always has some great questions, got some music things going on, Absolutely. Got a really good deal going on over there. Make sure you join him on Wednesday nights. Thursday nights at the Downtown Grill. We start at 7:30 over there. And, of course, if you don't know where that is, that's right off of Claw Street. Come and join us at the Downtown Grill. Trivia starts at 7. Michael does a little bit different than I do. But we sort of do the same things in a little bit different of a way. But when Michael does a little bit of what's the date, which you better pay attention to right after this, right. I give you, and the answer is. That's right. The answer is category, usually in round number 4. And if you watch the show, or if you go back and watch the show, Byron, Michael, Dave, it's going to be the easiest 5, 7, 9, or 11 points you'll ever get from either one of us.
That's right.
I can tell you that. I know what's the date is sort of easy too, but this is real easy. Yeah. All you got to do is watch the show and listen out. And Thursday's trivia answer is what, Byron?
Squash.
Really? Like what kind of squash?
Hopefully like yellow squash.
Mike?
Could be a sport squash.
Right. It could be. It could be.
Could be that fly on the window.
Yeah,
could be that. Yes.
Got squashed. Yeah.
Got squashed. That's
exactly
right. So squash. How about that? That's pretty good, Mike. Appreciate that.
There you go.
And now everyone's favorite segment that brings back a little history, brought to you by our great media partners. WEAG Eagle Country 106.3 FM. Chuck and Mary Kramer and Lynn Vellis. And the Bradford County Telegraph, John Miller, John Ryan Tillman, Mark Crawford, and of course Cliff Smelly. Here's what's the dates. These are the headlines for the Bradford Telegraph during the second week of June in what year, right?
Yeah.
Sort of technically. We'll call it first to second.
First, it was the second week. First and a half.
Yeah, okay, very good. Tropical storm Colin winds knocked down trees. Man in jail for molesting child. Third grade reading score steady overall. Was that June of 2014. June of 2016, that's okay. And June of 2018. The second week of June of 2014, 2016, or 2018, right? Tropical storm Colin winds knocked down trees. Man in jail for molesting child. Third grade reading score steady overall. All right. Was that June, Byron, of 2014? Was that June of 2016? Or was that June of 2018? I see you smiling. I think you know the answer.
No.
No, you don't. All right. How about if I read the first one? Michael can read the second one. You read the third.
That works.
All right. Winds from Tropical Storm Colin swept through an area between Silver and Bolt Lakes Monday, knocking down large trees and damaging homes on the west side of Silver Lake off Southeast 7th Avenue in good old Bradford County.
Alexander Palazzi, age 24, was arrested on a charge of sexual battery on a victim under the age of 12 after he approached her several weeks prior while she was riding her bicycle.
Scores released for the third reading showed that, like the state average, the reading performances in Bradford budged little, with an average test score increasing 1 point and the scores fixed at 45%.
Not bad. Okay, Tropical Storm Colin winds knocked down trees. Man in jail for molesting child. Third grade reading scores steady overall. was that June of 2014, June of 2016, and June of 2018. Here's where you, the listeners, can play right along with us. This is where it gets nitty and gritty. Michael's fixing to have a drawing here in just a couple of minutes to give our last month's winner. Didn't have a lot in the bucket this time, did we?
We did not have.
No.
But we got a few.
We got a few, and somebody is going to win a $25 gift certificate
We got the old fire helmet. We got names and
to the Downtown Grill. Good.
Please, everybody miss the questions because that means I get the gift certificate.
Well, this one belongs to David Theus. I've been meaning to give it to him.
Yeah.
Michael, I'm going to let you take care of that for Mr. Theus or Byron or somebody. Hopefully.
David, I'll tell you what, David, if you're watching the show, which I'm sure you are because you have good taste.
That's right.
I will be attending the Northeast Florida League of Cities in Orange Park next Thursday. Get a hold of me. We'll make sure that we get this delivered to you, whether we meet you at the League of Cities dinner or in transit, but let me know so that I can get this to you.
Absolutely. So you have a chance to win a $25 gift card, Byron. Yep. You know why that is? Because you have to guess the date.
Yes.
If you guess the date, you get your name put into the hat for the drawing that will happen at the end of the month or actually the first week of the next month. And you have a chance to win a $25 gift card courtesy of the Downtown Grill. Thank you, Chrissy and Ricky Thompson, for letting us do that. And, of course, we want y'all to enjoy it. You can use it anytime you want. You can use it on trivia night. You can use it Friday night. You can use it Saturday. You can use it for breakfast. We really don't care, Byron. Hey, we just want you to enjoy that $25 gift card. Yeah. All right. I want some guesses here. So let's start here. You got them here, big guy? So, let me welcome in some people.
Yeah, do that.
Jimmy Sparks, Roy Jackson,
Jimmy.
Austin Stevens, thank you for the great weather report. Robert McGee, Jimmy Sparks, good evening to you, brothers. Richard Stockram is on. Randy Brooks. Hollywood Jones is on. Michael Box is on. Randy Scoggins is on. Roy Jackson says, Michael, give me 2014.
Okay.
Jennifer Consuela Dodge says what? 2014. Terry Wilkerson Anderson says, give me 2016. Randy Brooks says 2016. Look at there. Somebody
Sarge.
we haven't seen in a while. Sarge is back on.
Hey!
Sarge, man.
Sarge.
Me and Sarge
Yeah.
talk at work, and he just, been really tight, just been busy and stuff. But he said, David, I got to catch a show.
Yes.
So,
Glad
Sarge, glad you're back on from Lake City.
There you
He
go.
says 2018.
Okay.
Cindy Taylor says 2014. Bartow Lee, longtime Bradford Tornado. Hey, he loves the Tornadoes. Holds the flag, does the flag. He says 2016. Chuck and Alicia Redding says 2014. And we'll keep going until we get some more guesses here. Byron, I'll start with you. We'll go around the table here. What do you say?
I'm going to say 2016.
You're going 2016?
Yes.
Okay, is that your final answer?
That is my final answer.
All right. Dave?
2014 kind of sticks in my head.
All right, 2014. All right.
Kinda,
Michael?
Kind of hard to go against.
I will have to
Pass.
pass.
All right. Justin?
2014.
2014.
With
Our
authority.
special. With authority.
With authority.
He looked at me and he went, 2014. You know what? Because he said it that way, I'm going 2014. I'm going 2014.
There you go.
Okay.
So Tammy, one,
Ooh.
2, 3. Hello, Alvy! There we go. Hope he's doing a lot better.
Me too.
Tammy, give us a little report so we can report. Remember the last time we spoke, Alvy wasn't doing so great.
Yeah.
But he was, hey,
But he was
I think
home.
he's right. He was home.
He made it home. so
Yes,
that's
he
good.
did.
That's good.
So that's a good thing. So we're doing good, Sarge. Glad to see that you're back on. We've got a great show tonight. We've got a candidate that's going to be running against incumbent Kamek in the primaries, and also a guy that we interviewed a couple of weeks ago, Manuel Asensio, who was on our show as well. We got Justin Waters coming on here with us in just a few minutes. Tammy Testone says 2016.
Yep.
Pepper Autistic says, hello, guys. You want to take a guess? 2014, 2016, or 2018, Pepper? Your chance to get in. So you got what, Dave?
I got 2014 for sure.
You do. Justin's got 14.
Absolutely.
And I got 14, too. What do you got, Byron?
16.
You do. Okay.
You sure you don't want to
Sure
change
you don't wanna
your
change
guess?
No.
No?
No.
I don't want to change mine either.
I'm not backing out of it. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
Well, no, that's okay. Because, hey, it is what it is. You may be trying to throw the viewers off.
Listen, Tom.
I would never do anything like that, would I?
Hold on a second. Listen, Tom Petty. Don't back down.
Don't.
I won't back down.
There you go. Or better yet, how about let me just give you a little Judas Priest. You got another thing coming. Yeah.
There you go.
All right. Anyway, here we go. I guess that's all the guesses for now. Before we give the answer, do we want to do a drawing or let's do the give the answer?
We're going to give the answer and then we're doing
All right. And the answer is, wait for it, drum roll. I know we're right.
Bam!
Dadgummit, Byron.
It is indeed.
You know what?
It is indeed June of
2016. How about that? Hey, you know what we did? Me, Justin, and Dave? We just threw everybody off. Now, don't buy that.
Don't buy that.
Don't buy that. Don't buy that.
Don't buy that
I
either because I had no.
I had no clue either.
Man, I thought I was right.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
all right. Okay. Yes, we shall. Alan is home and he's doing great. Thanks for the prayers. He loves you guys. He's watching very intently.
Good.
Hey, and that's what we want to hear. As long as you're smiling, we're good to go.
it.
Winner for May. Here we
you
go.
go.
Let's see.
Now, before you reveal it,
Uh-huh.
I got a suspicion.
Okay.
There was one name that actually had several entries,
Yep.
and
You think that name?
that's who I think so. I'm not going to say it before you do it, but
There wasn't very many entries. I know
No,
that
there was
because there was 1 week, guys. We didn't have anybody guess it.
Yes,
So we just move on.
but there was one person that had more than one. I think that's who got it.
Okay, let's see. Well, I'll be dadgum. Isn't that nuts?
Who you got?
I got our very own sheriff,
Oh man,
Gordon Smith.
very good. I thought
Do you know Gordon? You do.
I thought it was Roy Jackson.
Actually, Roy had the most entries.
Yeah, I thought
in
Roy.
there. He
That's
did.
just what I thought.
How many entries did he have?
Huh?
Did he actually
He had
have
two.
all 4? He had
He
2.
had two.
Okay,
He had two.
so and everybody else pretty much had 1. That's what I thought. So
that's it.
great job, Gordon Smith.
Smith. All right.
$25 gift card to the Downtown Grill.
There you go.
You can take your lovely wife Stephanie over for dinner one night.
Or his,
That way-
or your 911 coordinator.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there you go.
There you go.
Or your new color commentator for the Tornadoes,
There
Byron
you go.
Bagwell.
That's true. That's true.
Or, hey, our candidate. You take Justin Waters with you.
There you go.
You can take Dave Holland.
That's right. The
You
bar-
take me. $25 ain't gonna do it for me.
I was about to say that's
$25 ain't gonna do it for me,
That's
Justin.
about one meal.
That's that's the appetizer.
Pretty much.
So anyway, guys, Benny Jackson's on as well. So thank you all for joining us tonight, and we'll be right back with our special guests and other things right after this commercial break.
Schuster and Sabin is the leading firm in Florida with 8 offices from the Panhandle to the Florida Keys to handle your claims for personal injury, workplace violations, and PIP claims for medical professionals. Visit us online at www.piplaw.com or call 24 hours a day at 877-511-7829. Schuster and Sabin Law Offices for all your legal needs.
And now, with the latest national...
All right, welcome back to On the Spot with David Rodgers. Glad to have you along. I am your host, David Rodgers, right along with the Byron Bagwell, one of the new high priests of the Church of the Painful Truth. The other one just left. We've got one that's at home, and the other one's producing the show. But I believe the guy that I've got next to me right here, I think he's one of the new high priests of the Church of the Painful Truth, too. But we're fixing to find out. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in my guest, Mr. Justin Waters. Justin, glad to have you here, buddy.
Thank you for having me here.
Absolutely. This is a great time. If you're a Justin Waters fan or if you want to know what Justin's about, this is a great time to share the show. Make sure you come on. Hey, we'd like to see the numbers double from what they are right now, for sure. We've got a great show going with a lot of viewers, live viewers, but we'd like to have more because you definitely want to hear what Justin's got to say. Justin, again, thank you for joining us here on the spot with David Rodgers. I always like to start off with our viewers and our guests that are watching, and your people as well. But some of the people here that doesn't know you, give a little bit of your background and who you are and how you became to this point.
Well, I'm 40 years old. I'm married, have 2 kids and 1 on the way. We live just north of Gainesville, and been living in the area for about 4 years, but I'm a sixth-generation Floridian with family roots in the area and all over Florida. What really motivated me to run for Congress was the problems that we had in the year 2020, the lockdowns, the mandates, the defund the police movement, and then leading to all the election problems in November. So it was in that background that in January 2021, I decided to run for Congress. So I'm seeking the Republican the nomination in Florida Congressional District 3. Congressional District 3 is made up of 12 different counties. It's a big district because of its rural nature. The issues that I'm really focusing on are just really taking back the House. And the only way we're going to take back the House is if we have the right candidates in the primary, because the right primary candidates are the ones that are going to win the general and are going to motivate other districts to vote Republican and vote red and have a real more of a conservative leaning government.
Hey, and that's a great segue into you coming on to the show. So where did you go to high school at? Where did you go to college at? I know you got some service background I want to talk to you a little bit about.
Sir.
I'm prior U.S. Navy as well.
Yes.
We can talk about that a little bit. This gentleman right here is prior U.S. Navy as well, Mr. Dave Holland. But tell everybody where you went to school at and college and just, again, from high school until now.
Well, I went to high school in Tarpon Springs, Florida. It's at the time it was a smaller community like most of Florida. It's had a lot of population growth. At the time it was more of a suburban, rural area. Then I went to the University of South Florida in the Tampa, St. Petersburg area. And it was after that I went into the United States Navy, went to basic enlisted submarine school and also yeoman training. And after the Navy, I used the GI Bill, went to Florida Coastal School of Law in Jacksonville, Florida. After getting my law degree, I then started practicing juvenile law. I first practiced juvenile law in some advocacy work with the organization Save Southern Heritage. We were working to save our Confederate monuments and trying to stop the tidal wave of the left that was overtaking the country. Since then, I then moved on to juvenile law, which has been a very morally rewarding work for me. I worked in Cross City for a while, which is Dixie County, Gilchrist, and Levy. I was in those tri-county areas. And right now I work in Circuit 8, which is Bradford County, Baker, Union, Alachua, Gilchrist, and Levy.
Nice, very good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, just now tuning in, I've got a candidate for the Republican side here, Kat Kamek, the incumbent right now. You've got also, you're running against a guy named Manuel Asensio, and it's yourself right now. And for the, like you said, for the seat for the third district, congressional district here in the state of Florida. Justin, just a couple of quick questions for myself, and then I'll get Byron, and if Michael want to join in as well on the questions. But I want you, the viewing audience, to go ahead and bring us some questions. Bring questions to us. We will read them out to Justin. He can't see what's on the screen right now, but we'll be able to read it out to him, and we'll give him a chance to answer those questions. He seems more than open to answer any of those questions that he's able to answer, and of course, he wants to be able to give you the best answer that he can. So, Kat's been in the office there a couple of years now. I want to know what has enticed you or made you want to run this particular time. I know you know Manuel a little bit. You watched his interview that we had him as well.
I've met him personally.
And you met him personally.
I've been to his house.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay. So, what made you decide to run?
Well, I decided to run in January 2021. So Kat Kamek was only 2 weeks on the job, so I can't say it was her voting history that motivated me to run. It was more of the dysfunction that was going on in the country that motivated me to run. And the only way to address all of the dysfunction was addressing it at the federal level, because our own Governor DeSantis is doing a great job. So I didn't have the motivation quite as much to run at a state level, because our Florida Republicans and our governor are doing a great job already. but the problems are really coming from the federal level. They're not securing the border. They're spending too much money. Trillions of dollars that are being spent are leading to the inflation that we see today, and we still have the culture of defunding the police, which needs to stop. So it was more about addressing federal problems that are occurring at a federal level, and now we have the billions of dollars that are funneling into Ukraine when we should be funneling that money into securing our schools so we have safer schools, and securing our border so we don't have who knows who coming over our border.
Wow, that's a great answer. And
not only that, you end up making the inflation even worse than it already is when you start doing stuff like
you got that
exactly.
right.
How you
And inflation's only going to get worse because we still have a lot of minimum wage laws that are going to go into effect. That's only going to raise the minimum wage, and when that happens, when we have our $15 minimum wage in Florida, unfortunately, we're going to see even more inflation. So there are a ton of problems that are statewide and federal level, but mostly federal level, that need to be addressed.
Byron? Yep.
How are you going to address the needs of your actual district? I hear a lot of people talk about we need to do this on a national level.
Yeah.
But there are things we can do on the local level to start solving some of those national problems too. It trickles up instead of down.
Absolutely. So just within District 3 are what are the current boundaries of District 3. Putnam County unfortunately lost the Crescent City Police due to a lack of funding. Now that was a big problem that happened just 2 years ago. In my view, a federal lawmaker and state lawmaker should have been on top of that and looked at state grants and federal grants and should have been knocking on doors and making things happen. And then in Clay County, from what I read, the Clay County Sheriff's Office is missing vital equipment and they don't have a shooting range to practice in. And of course we want our Sheriff's Department to be able to shoot straight, and I don't think they should.
Yeah. Okay. I like that.
Here is a good idea for that. They have Camp Blanding, and I'm sure the federal government would allow
Absolutely. So there's a good idea
to go take care of that.
So there are solutions to all of these problems. We just need to brainstorm them, and we need lawmakers who will sit down with their constituents and sit down with the Sheriff's Department, and who's not just interested in going to the cocktail parties, but actually wants to sit in the offices and ask them what they need, and then try to find solutions to their problems.
So I've got a question, and it was from one of the viewers here. By the way, let me just welcome in a couple guests before I ask you that. Again, Benny Jackson's on, Jeff Goins, Bobby Gibson out of Birmingham, Alabama's on, Melba B. Johnson's on, Jimmy Bowers of Lake City that I work with. Manuel Asensio says hello, Justin.
Hey, Manuel.
There you go. Jimmy Bowers says, what's up, Dave? Not much, just trying to get through the show here. We've got Justin Waters on. He's going to be running in the primary against Kat Kamek and Manuel Asensio in Congressional District 3. And we'll see what happens as that primary comes up in August. John Gardner's watching from Pascagoula, Mississippi.
Yeah.
How about that? We got viewers everywhere, man. So, hey,
Great.
You're going to be known nationwide.
Well, we're running in a 12-county district, so I need that.
There you go. You need the publicity there. So, people want to know if you are chosen and elected and you win the race. People want to know: are you going to be personable with them? In other words, are you going to be a guy that will come around when you can and meet and greet, have some little town hall meetings?
Absolutely. You know, face-to-face meeting is what we have to do. Too often, our lawmakers will just go to the big parties, or they'll go to these fundraising events that will just have a select few people, and those people, they don't represent our district. We need lawmakers who will go to trivia night, who will go speak at the county commission meetings, and that's absolutely what I will do if I'm fortunate enough to be elected.
All right, Mike, you got a question?
Yeah, question for you. Take this the spirit of which it's intended, but basically our show and our demographic in this portion of the state, you're kind of preaching to the choir. We're a very conservative group here in this section of Florida. Your biggest challenge, of course, being the city of Gainesville. We'll leave that one alone.
Sorry.
So convince me that you have the ability to reach out to those representatives that may not share your ideals, your beliefs. Convince me, or at least express to me how you're going to bring people together. Because as you said, you know, this is a federal issue. This is going to take a lot of work. It's not one person doing everything like that one. You're representing District 3, and I can appreciate that one. So how are you going to bridge these gaps together so that you can get accomplished what your platform is indicating?
Well, progressives throughout the country are losing elections. It's happening in California, it's happening in New York. People are realizing that the progressive ideology is just wishful thinking, and we need law enforcement, we need borders. And so this is a conclusion that people are reaching, and that it shows even in the Democratic primary. What we need to convince them, though, is that even though you have the more moderate Democrat running, they're still progressive enough, and they're still going to lean progressive due to all of the factions and individuals that they still have to represent. So if the constituents, the electorate, really want to move away from this wishful thinking of progressive ideology, they need to elect conservative Republicans, particularly those that are more traditional leaning.
Hey, Michael, by the way, somebody's asking me, do we have a call-in number tonight? Can we send?
Yes,
We can?
We can activate the call.
All right, we can activate the call-in number. Let Michael work on that here for just a couple of minutes. I believe that number is up. We haven't used it well. 904-458-7588. 904-458-7588. If you have a question for any of us here on the show, or for Justin Waters, who is our special guest tonight, and again, glad that you can stop by and talk with us here a little bit. Byron, do you have another question for Justin?
Justin, I know you've had some military service, and I know that you support the military, as all service members do. What are we going to do, or are you going to do, about the fact that the military is now really being defunded once again?
Yeah. So there was the idea that we won't need as many military personnel because we're going to move to technology and more autonomous weaponry. That doesn't appear to be the case, but that was the thinking. And the thinking was that with more autonomous weaponry, we won't need individuals with their pensions. We won't have as many disabled veterans who will have to pay disability benefits. That's not happening, unfortunately. So we do need to fund our military and ensure not just our military, but our veterans who are disabled, who have PTSD and have a number of other issues, are properly cared for. And we need to ensure that our VA hospitals are giving adequate care. And if they're not, then they should be able to go to the private market.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And use their same VA care. Yes.
Absolutely.
That is an idea that's been tossed around that I really like.
Yeah.
They should be allowed to do that anyway.
So I've got a question for you, and one of the viewers just sort of brought it up in a, actually I do have a question for a viewer. It's from Sarge, Jason Vaught. We all know that gun laws don't work. What kind of legislation would you introduce to increase penalties for those who commit crimes with guns?
Well, mandatory minimums are an option. Unfortunately, there are some situations where they don't seem to apply, like in self-defense issues, where it's kind of sketchy on what's self-defense and what's not. So mandatory minimums are an option, but they come with some hazards in more gray situations. I would say, though, we need to stop giving not just second, but multiple chances to career criminals. Much of the crime in this country, it comes from career criminals who just have a pattern of criminal behavior, and they need to be locked up. We need to realize that not everybody can be rehabilitated.
Wow. Dave?
What areas of public policy are you personally passionate about?
The biggest issue that we need to address is the border. The border is a huge national security concern, and it's a huge drain on our public resources. We need a social safety net to care for those who are not able to care for themselves, particularly children, the elderly, and the disabled. But when we have millions of illiterate migrants coming over the border who are only capable of doing manual labor, it creates a huge need to address their needs, and it creates an ethical situation where we have to choose between helping the illegal immigrants versus helping our Americans. And if we had a stronger border and we enforced our border, we wouldn't have that ethical dilemma quite as much, and our national resources could be used on Americans.
Jimmy Bowers has got a good question. He says, Justin, do you agree with arming teachers in public schools?
If they want to be armed, then I think they should be able to carry a firearm. They would need to be, they would probably need to take a class, but yes, in general, I do believe in arming teachers if they want to be armed.
Again, call-in number is 904-458-7588, 904-458-7588 if you've got a question for Justin or anyone here on the panel. Mitchell Gunner says, is there a way to flag people with mental problems on their driver's license so guns cannot be sold to them?
Guns are, already have a wait list on buying a firearm, so that gives the gun broker time to check their history and see if they're eligible. So we already have that system in place. I don't think that we need to honor our driver's licenses, though. I think that would create a stigma for people who may generally be okay, just not be able to own a firearm. For example, many felons can't own a firearm. We don't need to put on their driver's license that they're a felon.
There's a misconception out there that you just go in and buy guns. You don't go in and buy guns. You wait.
Yeah.
And depending on what it is, you wait up to 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Yep.
So, again, welcome into, okay, we got her set up right here. So if you want to call in, the number is 904-458-7588, coming across the board right here. Dave, let's do this real quick. Let's take a quick 30-second commercial break, and we're going to be back with Justin Waters right after this message.
I have spent nearly 40 years serving my community, and I've learned firsthand that we are not defined by the issues we face, but in how we work as a team to solve problems. People who run for office and truly care about the community do not run to make a paycheck. They run to make a difference.
All right, welcome in On the Spot with David Rodgers, back here after that commercial break. That is Mr. Michael Heater, our very own director. He will be running for city commissioner. So please follow him on his Facebook page, his Fantastic Fire Brigade page. This young man here, I call him young because he's younger than me, but he's not really young, just a tad. But anyway, seems to be doing a lot of good things in the community. So if you want to follow Michael Heater, please make sure you visit his Facebook page. Michael, you also got another page out there, right, as well?
Yeah, Michael Heater for City Commission District 1. It's a public page. That's the page we're doing all that one. The candidate activities and the accounts are now open.
Okay.
So we're hitting the ground running. We've got some exciting things coming on, including the Flag Day event June 14th. And I'm proud to be one of the sponsors of the Splash Bash July 3rd.
Right.
And we have we're also partnering with the city to put together a veterans event for Veterans Day and some other things coming down the pipe. So I'm real excited about what's in the future for the city of Stark.
That's awesome. Again, thank you, Michael, for everything that you do, and thank you for what you do on the show here for us as well. Back here with Justin Waters. He's running against Kat Kemick and Emmanuel Asensio for the congressional spot in District Number 3, Republican side, conservative side, however you want to call it. Jennifer says, we have some great candidates we must choose between for the Republican primary. I'd love to hear you take a moment and let us know why to vote for you over the others. And I was going to save that to the end because I was going to give you that spotlight. But since the question's asked, I'll let you go ahead and answer it.
Well, people should vote for whoever they want to vote for, but know that I lean more towards the House Freedom Caucus side. So if you want a Thomas Massey, more of the libertarian, constitutional leaning Republican, one who's going to cut fiscal spending and reduce our military interventionism, then vote for me. If you want a candidate that is more establishment, votes more according to what maybe 50% of the Republicans or more would vote, then that would be more of a Kat Cammack vote. I can give examples of that based on her voting history that shows that she's more of a establishment. For example, she spent 8 years in D.C. working for the prior congressman, and she also created the American Grit PAC, which is a PAC that donates to other Republican members or Republicans running for Congress in other states. Part of her thinking, I believe, is that she wants to become Speaker of the House, and the only way she's going to become Speaker of the House is if she appeals to at least 50% of the other Republicans. So I plan on going in there a little bit like a bulldozer and just criticizing everybody, Republican and Democrat, if they don't stick to the standards that we expect from them. And I think Kat Cammack will vote according to at least 50% of the Republicans that are already elected.
I want to clarify something he said because some of you may have misunderstood what he
Exactly.
said. He said libertarian, not liberal.
Absolutely.
Just wanted to make sure there is a major difference in the two.
Libertarian is more about fiscal conservative values, not spending revenue on anything unless we absolutely need it, unless it serves public need. It's absolutely necessary, like public roads, the military, police, firefighters, those kinds of necessary public functions.
We have our other co-host that usually comes on with us on Tuesday. Who I was telling you, Mitchell Gunner, he has his own show now called On the Spot with David Rodgers. Mitchell, thank you for calling in, big guy. Are you getting ready for your show tomorrow night?
Oh, yeah, you know it, David. We got a great guest coming on, Ron Griffith, chassis builder at Innovative Chassis Works over in Gainesville, Florida. They run also alcohol dragsters, so we'll get to talk a little bit about that. And then next following Wednesday, we're actually going to have another person on, Taylor Watson. She started out racing at the age of 6 years old, running quarter midgets, and now she is actually running in the truck series at New Smyrna Speedway.
Gotcha.
But, the reason why that I called in tonight was, we were talking about gun laws with all the things that's been going on in our nation. And that's why I was talking about flagging a driver's license, not for actually going into a store and purchasing a firearm where you have the wait period or the pull-off period, whatever you want. But say if you're an individual and you want to sell your firearm to another individual, you can ask to see their driver's license, and if it's got a little watermark on there showing that this person has mental issues, you don't have to get all into the reason why. That way there's no violation of HIPAA, but we'll let you know that they have a mental illness. That tells that person that's going to sell that firearm they don't need to sell that firearm to them. And I think that is a lot what's going on. This is how criminals are getting weapons that have mental illness, is they don't go to the stores to purchase them. They go to individuals.
I have a good answer for that.
And I think that will help cut down on that.
So what you're saying is absolutely true, and President Biden recently passed a bill that prohibits gun transfers unless it's done through a gun broker. It used to not be that way. It used to be that you could transfer a gun without a gun broker as long as you're not a regular seller of guns. You could transfer a few a year. You can still transfer a gun to a family member, an immediate family member, but you can't anymore transfer firearms to a non-relative without a gun broker. So I see that the safety issue.
But it's still going on, though. That's not stopping anybody. I'm just, I figured if we did that to driver's license, at least it would try to keep some honesty and safety in place. Because I tell you, if a criminal wants to buy a firearm, they're going to go to another individual and they're going to purchase it no matter what Biden has signed.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, though, that if somebody's willing to sell a gun without a gun broker, given today's laws, then they probably won't care if the person has that red flag on their driver's license or not.
May not. I know if I seen a flag on someone's driver's license, I ask for it to transfer a firearm to another person. I'm not going to do that.
One thing I'd like to do,
I'm
though,
an honest citizen.
In my view, President Biden's bill that prohibits gun transfers unless it's an immediate family member is slightly discriminatory because it does not allow fictive kin to transfer firearms. So if you have, let's say, you're in a relationship, you're not married, but your girlfriend's son is like your son, you should be able to transfer your gun to him just like as if that's your stepson. Unfortunately, President Biden's bill is discriminatory, and it does not allow gun transfers to fictive kin. It only allows gun transfers to immediate relatives through marriage or blood.
Right. Well, I will go ahead and tell you, I do not buy my firearms from any store because it is none of the government's business what type of firearms that I have at my house, what type of ammo I have at my house. So I do not purchase no guns through no store.
Well, if you have enough family members, you
reason.
can purchase them from your family members without violating the law.
Let's see.
When is that law supposed to go in effect? Or
I think
is
it already went
in?
into effect.
I believe it has. Michael, can you double check that, see if that law, Michael's going to double check that for us and see if that law has gone into effect. Byron, what do you think about that?
I have issues with all gun laws, every single one of them that has ever been passed, because the problem when you start restricting people's freedoms is that you're trying to restrict a freedom from a person who commits a violent crime. And those are freedoms, and they're not going to follow laws anyway. All you're doing is harming the innocent person.
And most gun laws are racist. That's something that the Democrats don't admit to. Like this law that prohibits fictive kin gun transfers. African Americans are less likely to be married than European Americans, so it discriminates against them more harshly than it discriminates against other ethnicities.
They have a long history of racial discrimination.
Yeah,
all the way around.
And then constitutional carry, African American neighborhoods tend to be have higher crime rates, so they have the need to carry, whether it's with a permit or without a permit.
That's right.
And you know, Justin, I think you hit this sort of on the head. Not even interrupt you there, and Byron, you sort of hit it too as well. Look, hey, if you're a criminal, you're going to find a way to get a weapon.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what law you put into place. It doesn't matter what you do. If you're a criminal, or as Byron says, I love Byron's term, if you're an evil person wanting to do evil things with a firearm, you're going to find a way to get it. And it's. But if you agree, Mitchell, you're going to find a way to get it.
Yeah.
It could be underground. It could be anything. That's why. Yes, can you flag some of this? Yes, I think you can. But it's not the be all to fix all. You know what I mean? A criminal's going to get a weapon. Somebody evil that wants to do an evil crime is going to get a weapon no matter where, you know what I'm saying? They're going to find a way to get it.
Yeah, you see a bunch of memes on
Right.
Facebook about that now, and most of them are absolutely correct. I mean, take a look at what some of the people have done in the past to kill other people. I mean, you've had people kill people with Kool-Aid. Literally. Mm-hmm. Poisoned the Kool-Aid, the people drank it, a bunch of people died. I mean...
Well, my whole thing is, I don't know how Biden can pass that law when the Second Amendment says that shall not be infringed on, how that even is able to go. I mean, I'm going to tell you, people are still going to buy firearms from other individuals regardless of that transfer. I'm telling you right now. And because they're going to say it should not be infringed. I'm still going to buy Bob's gun.
I can explain that to you really simply. we have a fundamental misunderstanding of the English language right now, and we're purposely being programmed not to understand it. Because the Second Amendment is not about guns, it is about arms. Or they would not have written it that way. So, you hear people say, well, you couldn't own a cannon back then. Really? People did?
Yes, they did.
Sorry, I mean that's historical
I know people
fact.
who got cannons today.
I mean, yeah, if you want that class of federal weapons license and the actual just absolutely invasion of your privacy at any time, yeah.
And it should be the state that decides, not Congress, not the president.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for
Thank
saying
you.
that.
Mitchell, great question. Real quick, just 15 seconds. Give a plug for your show tomorrow night.
I hope everybody joins us at 7 o'clock tomorrow night. We're going to have Ron Griffiths on. Like I said, he's a owner of Innovation Chassis Works there in Gainesville, Florida. They run Top Alcohol Dragster. And we're going to ask all different kinds of questions, all the way to the structure, integrity of an alcohol dragster. So it'll be very educational as well. And then the next following Wednesday again, Taylor Watson will be joining us, and we're going to talk about circle track.
Sounds great, Mitchell. Thank you for the call, brother. Look forward to seeing the show tomorrow night. You got something for me?
Well, no.
Okay. Thank you, Mitchell.
We'll all
God
be
bless.
listening, Mitchell. Pepper Autistic had a question that I need to answer real quick. She says, "How do you get? Does a permit?
How long does a permit last for a weapon?" Yeah.
If you're talking about to have one, you don't have to have a permit. It's just a background check.
Right.
If you're talking about a concealed carry permit, which is what's active now in Florida, I'm not exactly sure how long.
Take it a second.
I'm not exactly sure how long that lasts until you. There we go. Somebody is giving information away that I wouldn't give away, but okay.
Well, no, to you, I
It
can trust you.
expires. This particular one expires in 2029.
And I don't know if you have to resubmit everything.
You have to resubmit?
Or if you have to actually take another course, gun safety course, which you won't have to because you're
right.
You don't have to actually have a permit to own a gun.
What do you have?
Mine expires in 27, and I got it 3 years ago. So I'm gonna guess 10 years.
Okay, 27, 5, 8 to 10 years, about right.
Let's hope that Governor DeSantis passes the open carry bill. We won't have to worry about that because that covers both concealed and open. So.
Jimmy Bauer says parenting problem in this country, not a gun problem or a weapon problem. You agree?
Agree.
I think we have an issue with mental health too.
Yeah.
You saw some mass shootings when we used to have asylums. And that's a bad word people have just absolutely destroyed. But you did not see
You got to call in on the other line.
the issues that we have right now with things like mass shootings. It just didn't happen.
Yeah. Dave, question for Justin. Sorry about that.
Let me see. I think I got one set up right here.
The number's 904-458-7588. Is that coming to this line right here?
Yeah,
it is?
So
okay. I'm sorry,
wait
man.
for the phone back so I
okay.
can put it on this phone.
Yeah.
So I had it. I had to go into both phones.
Okay. Okay. Sorry
So
about
we put it on
that.
hold.
Sometimes we get those kind of things there, Justin. So 904-458-7588. Call back. We will get you on the line on either phone here. Dave, what you got?
What was your very first job, and how long did you have it?
My first job was when I was 17 years old. It was at AMC Theaters in Oldsmar, Florida. I believe I had it for about 1 year.
Then you moved on to like the summer or whatever, or did you just move on to another job?
I worked in insurance for a while. That's something that my dad and even my grandfather have done. So it's, if you look at, if we had a family business, I would say it's insurance. So I worked in insurance before the Navy and before law.
Want to answer a question from him?
It's okay.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got a caller that's been a previous guest here. Manuel Asensio is on the horn. Welcome to the show, Manuel.
Hello, David. How are you?
All right, doing great, sir. How about yourself? I've got Justin Waters. Can you hear us, Manuel?
Yes, I should turn off the radio, though.
Yes, maybe you should.
Some reverb.
Yeah, it's hard.
Delay
That
between
reverb.
the phone.
It's
It's a little
delayed.
delayed between the phone
And the show. Yep, you got about 45-second, Dave? We figured that out. So, welcome in, Manuel. I've got Justin Waters on. Glad that you could call in. Do you have a question, or do you have what do you have for Mr. Justin Waters?
Well, I think it would be good for your audience. He said he met me and he was at my house.
Yes.
And what was your impression, Justin? Did you like me? Did you like my issues?
Yeah, so I met you and your son. Your son seems like a nice guy. You seem like a person knowledgeable in history. That's generally my opinion.
Okay. Well, we haven't talked since then, and I've been trying to reach you a lot.
Well, if you want to talk politics, you can call me on my phone after the radio show. But if you have a specific question for that you think the audience might like to hear, I'm ready to answer it.
Well,
That's
I
a
think
great
that
point.
The audience should know the most important thing I think a politician has to be is open and candid and straightforward. And there's a real issue here with regards to Kat and her honesty. And I just wanted to make sure that you and I are honest with the audience and with David, and I've tried to reach you and have not, and I've always been available to you. I'm 67 and a half, and you're 40. So, and I run a busy portfolio and the like, but I have time for you always, and I would love to talk to you.
Okay.
What are your issues concerning Kat's honesty problems, which I discovered and I published on my website?
You know, if you want to talk about her honesty, I think there's a range of topics to talk about. But I will say that the baby formula crisis at the border is, to me, dishonest of her. She claims that the Biden administration is stockpiling formula at the border. The photo she showed was one shelf full of baby formula. The rest was applesauce, and the other pictures were of Nida, which is a dry milk for toddlers, not for babies. So I do think that was dishonest of her, and I think she did it to be on federal television. But that's all I have.
Hold on a second. She lied about being homeless on Fox when she was asked.
And Manuel, may I stop you right here and look, and I understand where you're going with this, and this will be great for a debate at some point that we're going to try to put together. Justin is here on his for his time. If you have a specific question for Justin, he'll be more than glad to answer it. But I think, and let me just go ahead and put it bluntly, throwing shots right now is probably not the right way to go because everybody's trying to get their airtime. We can do that as we're going to set up a debate, and I've already talked to all my gentlemen here. We are going to set that up. As soon as Kat Kamek reaches back to us so she can get her time as well, we're going to set up a debate between you three, and I see it to be a good one. So if you have a specific question for Justin, you can answer it. But the other stuff, Manuel, I would like to leave out for respect for our show and our viewers.
Okay, let's just be clear on what we're talking about here, Dave, for a moment, if we may.
Sure.
May I?
Yeah. Do you have? Is it going to lead to a question?
Absolutely.
Okay,
David.
I'll give you
but
30 seconds.
All right, David. The most important thing in politics is openness and candidness and straightforwardness and making sure that people
I've
know
heard this.
who you are. Okay.
Right.
And wait, hold on. So I want it is important for your viewers to know how Justin feels about the issues concerning factual, serious misstatements, false statements that Kat Kamek has made which were substantial in her campaign and are not being addressed by the media nor the GPO leadership in any one of the counties, nor the state, nor at the federal level. And that leads to other questions concerning this matter.
Okay.
About voting records, to determine whether or not the voting record is really an insight into the person's political ideology. And the political ideology of each one of us is very important. So that's what I was leading to, and I thought that we would put it in context because we need to know what's Justin's positions concerning the blatant lies that she used to get into
right.
Congress.
Well, I can answer
using to raise money.
We can let you go, and I can answer.
He wants to throw an answer to that, Manuel, if you'll give him a second.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But are we clear now, David? Is that a correct line of questioning or not here?
Yeah, I just want a question to him and let him get his turn to answer it, Manuel. Again, the other stuff that you're saying is debate stuff. I think my panel will agree here. You can use that in a debate format. Right here, this is question to answer period for Justin Waters, a person that's running against you in District 3.
David, do you want to reword my question for Justin?
No, Justin understood the question and he wants to answer it. And he wants to answer it, sir.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So I think the issue you're talking about is whether or not she first lived on the ranch, whether or not she lost the ranch due to an Obama-era program. And I think that the average viewer at this point really doesn't care whether she lived on a ranch or whether she just had family exposure to a ranch.
Absolutely.
So she might have embellished her story a little, but I don't think that the average voter really cares whether she lived on the ranch. And I don't think they really care about the details on whether she lost the ranch due to bad financial decisions on her mother's part or due to the Obama-era loan program. I think it was a HARP program. At this point, I don't think voters really care. It was a nice story that she used to get elected. I wouldn't say it was false. It was probably embellished, but I don't think voters really care.
And I'm going to add a little bit of something to that. I hope the voters didn't vote for her because of that story. I hope they listened to her ideas with what she wanted to do up there and then voted for her because she had those ideas.
Well, we had her on the show, Justin. I don't know if you watched the show back then, a few years back there when we was actually at her place and we did an interview with her. And all the questions that we asked her, we came up with some great questions. She answered each and every one of them to the best of her ability and what we thought, at that particular point. It was candid to us and candid to the viewers, obviously, right, Justin and Manuel, because they voted her in. And she right now is the incumbent. So, you and Mr. Waters, have your work to get out to overthrow the incumbent. And again, there's a special time and place to do that. And again, that's in a debate format. I just wanted you, if you was wanting to ask Justin a question directly, your freedom of speech, which I'm giving you, you can ask him directly, and then he can answer it as he deems necessary to answer that.
Well, it's important to get things down to earth, right? Let's bring this thing down to ground. So, Justin, I have two issues with what you said. First of all, you're a leader. You have to be a leader. It's not just what you're going to vote on and how you're going to vote on. It's how you're going to bring an issue that isn't being brought by any one of the other 400 congressmen. Well, actually, about 500 if you include the senators, and get change done. And a lot of change needs to be done. And I've done that with the Judicial Conduct Act reform. Now, I'm asking you personally, are you, and I'm not talking, you said that it's not false, it's a blatant lie. The mother did not have a cattle ranch, and she did not have a cattle business, but that's not what I was referring to. I was referring
and again,
to
that's at another time and another place.
The homeless issue, though. And what do you personally think about a congressperson that lie,
Well,
especially about the homeless issue.
She said that she lived in a hotel, so she did disclose her definition of homelessness. That's not my definition of homelessness. That's transitional housing. But she did disclose her definition of homelessness. So I don't think she lied. I think that she just...
Yeah, and you're right, Justin. And I tell you, Manuel, I'm going to stop this right here. I appreciate the phone call. I've got a lot of viewers on here with some other questions and some other things.
Okay.
I appreciate you coming on.
Just one more question, and I'll get off. I'll get off. He told me that he didn't feel she lied. That's okay. One more question. How do you feel about my anti-judicial corruption act, Justin?
I'd have to see it written out as a bill. I understand Manuel thinks that the judiciary has too much power, but we do have a system in this country where we have separation of powers. The judiciary must be separate from the legislature. So the judiciary does have the right to write its own court rules. I don't think Manuel likes that, but our system is based on 3 branches of government: judiciary, legislature, and executive. So I think that the judiciary is within its authority, and I'm open to hearing challenges to it, though.
All right, Manuel. There's your answer, big guy. Thank you for calling in.
Okay, so you have not read my Judicial Conduct Act, which is filed at the U.S. Judicial Conference and is under review in Congress.
I may not have read all of it. I probably glanced at it.
Okay, so you answered the question without any knowledge of what the law does.
Hey, Manuel. Hey, I appreciate it. I appreciate you calling in.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. All right, and I want to just go back to a couple of things here. And anybody that watched the show with us with Manuel, he had some great points. Don't get me wrong, he did. He talks just like Justin does. He had some great points. I have a question right here. Why can't candidates spend their time telling us why we need to vote for them instead of someone else? But all we ever hear is stuff about the other candidate. But personally, myself, and I'm going to speak for the host of the show and for you guys, I hope, to me, that's a big turnoff. That's a big turnoff. Tell me what you're going to do. Michael, do you agree? And Michael doesn't run his campaign that way. Look, tell me what you're going to do for me. Tell us what you're going to do for this district. Tell us what you're going to do for this great state. Tell us what you're going to do on the national level. That's what appeals to people, Justin. Absolutely. And, if you want to bring out something about another candidate, it's not on a radio show or a TV show. Let's do that at a debate. That's a great time where you can see the person face to face. And you can look at him and go, why did you do this? Or why did you do that? Then that person can explain. Right now, this was Justin's time. And again, I'll apologize to our viewers about that. Jennifer says she agrees with me. This is Mr. Waters' time. Pepper Autistic says, let's just stop all the stuff, David. Change the subject, which is exactly what I did. I did not know that was coming off that way, guys. Byron, can you, I don't know what's wrong with my thing here. I can't scroll up here. What's after that? Jennifer says, Manuel is losing my vote right now very quickly if he ever had it. Terry said she never had hers.
Right.
Jug and Lisa hang up on it. I did, in a way. And then Eddie Sigmund, he listens to our show all the time. He says, I got on late to hear about what was being said. Right? Is that what he said there?
Well, Manuel, if you're still listening, I have a suggestion for you. You have great ideas about the two things you're talking about. And if Cat Kamek lied, it's wrong. But you need to talk to the people about more things than just those two things. Because they're quickly going to get tired of hearing you talk about those two things constantly. So let them know about your ideas about what you're going to do for your constituents.
Yeah, and
that will help a great deal.
And I'm sorry.
No,
Barry. I'm glad. I'm glad that you said that. No, because that needed to be said.
We Which gets me back to the question I had for Justin. And Justin, I want you to expand on that before we got interrupted on this one. You come across with strong ideas, and you come across as someone who can really connect with this population, this county. But there are others like that who Gainesville being a hotbed for this thing like that. But you're going to have more of that in D.C. Tell me what your vision is on how to connect with other representatives and other government leaders to get our economy back on track, to get our nation back where it's going to be. You can tell me what your vision is because it shares with the rest of us. I need you to explain, what are your ideas, thinking outside the box? What can we do that would bring others that may not share the same ideologies over to what you're believing in, and then how we can move forward as a team that way?
Well, what we as the people need to do is elect leaders who listen to their district, the people in their district, and not the people in the D.C. Beltway. The D.C. Beltway is full of non-government organizations, lobbyists, and it's what Trump called the swamp. And once a member of Congress gets elected, they have a lot of financial and personal pressure to listen to the swamp. And once that happens, they start to drown out the local voices in the district. And that's what we really need to worry about. So we need to connect our local leaders to their local communities. Yeah. We need to connect our members of Congress to their district. Too often they're connected more to the DC Beltway. And the longer they're in there, the more this happens. And they become just so disconnected to the average person that they're not even listening to us. What I would do to try to put an end to that is, it's mostly a personality thing. It's also about character, and it's also about keeping an eye on people and keeping pressure on them in the primaries. And this is also why I'm running, because if candidates do not have primary opponents, they're not going to have the pressure of listening to their constituents. So even if I don't win, I am serving our district by keeping pressure on our current Congresswoman and ensuring that she listens to we the people and not just the DC Beltway.
That's a great answer right there, Justin. Absolutely. And I love that, the DC Beltway.
Yeah.
I like that.
If you don't have never seen what goes on in Congress and who's sitting up above Congress, you need to watch C-SPAN one time when they pan the cameras up there, because that's not Congress people up there. That's lobbyists up there. And that's lobbyists from everywhere.
The entire world.
And I personally have definite ideas of how to stop that, which at some point I will bring out, but I'm not going to do that tonight.
I assure you, ladies and gentlemen, and I know this is Justin's time, and I'm going to give you a little bit, Justin, and then I'm going to close out with a couple of statements here. There's a question from Eddie Sigmund. Tell me how you feel about abortion and how you feel about the thing to help us, not the people in the government, and lining their pockets. So he's asking about abortion and then about politicians lining their pockets.
That's good questions. So we live in very interesting times. For 50 years we had Roe v. Wade, and it looks like in July the Supreme Court is going to release a decision that's going to overturn Roe v. Wade. That's very interesting. It's going to have groundbreaking changes all across the country. When that happens, the states will be able to make their own laws regulating abortion. Right now, they can make their laws regulating abortion, but the Supreme Court decision significantly limits their freedom. So once we have that freedom, the states will be able to narrow down the time limit that abortion can occur. As a member of Congress, a lot of people running don't acknowledge this, but Congress cannot draft laws that restrict or require abortion laws, because that's the authority of the state. So it would be a congressional overreach for me as a member of Congress to draft or co-sponsor any bills that limit abortion or to authorize abortion. What I can do as a member of Congress is to ensure that no federal funds go to funding abortion, and that's what we call the defund Planned Parenthood movement. So that's what I promise to do, is to ensure that no federal funds go to funding abortion, and it will be up to the state legislature in Florida to craft its own laws regulating abortion.
Justin, if I'm not mistaken, the states can actually outlaw abortion, period, if they wanted to.
The draft that was released prior to it is supposed to be released limited abortion to 15 weeks. But it allowed language in there that makes you think that maybe they're open to limiting abortion even prior to 15 weeks. So I think what we're going to do is, instead of abortion being a fundamental right as it is believed to be under Roe, any state laws is going to have to pass the rational basis test. So a state is going to still have to prove that this anti-abortion law rationally serves a state purpose. And I think they'll be able to do that much more easily than when it was considered a fundamental right.
So I got a question too on the, that was a great answer, by the way. I got a question for you. Somebody's talking about inflation, and fake inflation numbers, GNP growth, things like that. What is your thought on that? And give our viewers a little bit of what you know about inflation and what you're going to try, if there is inflation, which we know that there is, what you're going to do about it, or some of the things that you can help do about it.
So once you pump trillions of dollars into the economy, you're going to have inflation. But one thing that we can do to lower the price of everything is to reduce the cost of energy, and that's what we need to do. So we need to drill everywhere. So some people say, not in my backyard. I think that we need to drill off the coast of Florida. It's controversial, but my position is that it should be allowed, at least in federal waters. Federal water starts 10 miles out off the Gulf Coast and about 3 miles off the Atlantic coast, and then extend about 200 miles. And so some people in Florida say, not in my backyard, do it out west, or do it in Texas. I think it should be everywhere. Out west, Texas, Alaska, we should drill in Florida.
Martha's Vineyard.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
I'm sorry.
We need to also diversify our energy sources, and I believe that would lower the price of goods and supplies.
Okay, so when you say diversifying, meaning what?
So we live in Florida, so we should not be opposed to some green energies like solar. Wind probably has turned out to not be as reliable, and it kills eagles and other birds, and it's a noise hazard, and when they stop working, they become a nuisance on the views. So, but solar is pretty good. It can sometimes be a nuisance, but over the decades, it might pay itself off. So oil drilling, coal, and solar, I think, and also nuclear. Nuclear is becoming more and more safe.
I was just getting ready to say it is.
I ask this all the time, and if you've never been next to one of the windmills that they're talking about, this is not a windmill on a farm.
No.
They are humongous, is the only way to describe them.
Okay.
And they're very expensive to maintain, and guess what they use to maintain them? Oil is what they use to maintain them. I believe they use diesel too for some of it. So you're really it's the cost effectiveness is questionable, and most of the time in most of the states that I know personally that use those, the power doesn't stay in the states; it goes to places like California.
Yeah, and the best place to put them would be on the coast, and then that would just ruin our coast. So I'm not in support of windmills on the coast. Maybe miles out, I think we should consider oil rigs.
Robert McGee, I don't know if he's asking it to me or you, Byron. What's your personal view on abortion? He answered that just a second ago. Are you for it or against it?
I'm against it.
He is against it, so okay. There you go. Byron, anything to say on that?
On the abortion subject,
Yeah.
I think I pretty much said.
I know you
exactly
have.
what I believe about abortion. Abortion is one of those things that you're going to get humongous arguments about.
Yeah.
But I believe the way we're using it now is not really what initial intention of it was for. We're using it as birth control, is what we're doing, and that is just morally and ethically just repugnant.
David, question for Justin?
I'm fine.
You good, Michael?
Yep.
Hey man, he's nailed it all, hadn't he? Ladies and gentlemen, again, if you haven't or tuning in late to the show, we have Justin Waters. Hey, Republican candidate for Congressional District 3 seat, going to be running against incumbent Kamek, and you just heard Manuel Asensio, which I'll address here in a couple of minutes. What you got, B?
Why don't we give Justin a little bit more time?
I'm going to give him just a little bit here. I want him to close out strong, and that's what I want him to exactly do, because I want to get to the weather, and then I want to address something here in just a couple of minutes. So, but anyway, let's see. One more question here.
We've got a Let's Go Brandon comment.
Yeah. Sorry, back to the gun. You said that I would be able to give my gun to a family member. Do they have to get a permit to carry it?
Yeah, they have
Absolutely.
To get got to get a permit to carry it.
Yes.
But not own it.
That's correct.
Correct.
Yeah, you to carry it, you don't have to do that. And in some situations, you don't even have to have a permit to actually carry it. You can't conceal carry it, but you can carry it to and from shooting ranges, to and from hunting. There's some laws you can look up in Florida that will actually allow you to do that.
All right, Renee Stegall Shaw, one of my classmates from Pascagoula, Mississippi, there where I grew up at way back in the day, Justin, way back in the day. BP Horizon aside, fishing out around the oil rigs off the Mississippi, Louisiana coast has always been awesome.
Absolutely.
And it's still always awesome.
You can see that on all the fishing shows.
Yeah. Yes.
It creates habitat for the
It's
animals.
natural reef, or artificial reef.
Absolutely. Jennifer's got a great point too, Byron. Sure. Florida is very important. We have an amazing amount of resources that with the current worldwide issues can be alleviated if we take advantage of it.
Absolutely.
Agreed, Jennifer, definitely. All right, we just did that. Ella Disher Williams is on. What about our government shipping out 70% of our meat to other countries? From Eddie Sigmund. You know anything about that?
I'm not familiar with that. I do know that we have a great meat market in the United States. As long as we're able to feed our own people, which we are at this time. And I think that just shows that we still have a strong economy.
Ellen says, "What? Let's go, Brandon. What are y'all thinking about these food factories catching fire?"
Yeah, a lot of people are bringing that up. It's a common thing, and we all want to know why. And the mainstream news really needs to address it. We need to know statistics on the history of food processing plants and how they've been how they've been destroyed, and where we are now and why they're being destroyed. It's suspicious. I've wondered, is it eco-terrorism? Is it trying to create a shortage of food so that more authoritarian governments can control people through controlling the food supply? That's at least the conspiracy. I don't know, but it's concerning.
I gotcha.
Definitely concerning.
All right. Well, Justin, hey, man, I appreciate you coming on, man. Thank you for your time. We just want to apologize for the... didn't know that was going to go that way. I thought he did ask the question eventually. You answered it very well. Again, I appreciate you coming on. I want to give you about 2 to 3 minutes, give you some final thoughts, and bring that to our audience and to the voting members of District 3 here. And I'll let you go ahead.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we need to elect an individual who comes from our community, who comes from the state, who has ties in the state, who's been in the state longer than they've been in D.C. Because an individual that comes from the state is going to have financial and personal ties to the state.
Right.
I don't want to be in D.C. I don't want to do a speaking tour around the country. I just want to create a state where my 2 kids and the one on the way can live a good life and where they can have kids. That's all I'm concerned about. I want to have a future for my children and for my friends and family members. We need to elect an individual who has that mentality and who's not just in it for fame and fortune.
And that candidate is?
And the right candidate is Justin Waters. Please vote Justin Waters, August 23rd. Absolutely. Always ask for the
Yeah, I was asked why I want
Yeah.
to throw it back to you. Justin, again, thank you for coming on. You've been wonderful. Hopefully later down the line, maybe we're trying to get Kat Kamek on. We've been reaching out to her. Hopefully she'll be able to come on. And hopefully one day that On the Spot with David Rodgers, which we have done many, can do a debate between
I would
them.
love that, yeah.
The debate would be really
Yes,
good.
it would.
It would be fiery. I can already see it.
Yeah.
But I would love, Michael, for us, Byron, Dave, to host a debate. Hopefully we can make that happen. So again, Justin, thank you for coming on. Thank
you
you
very
for
much.
all the questions from the viewers.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, we're going to take a commercial break, and then we're going to be back with the weather right after this commercial break.
Thank you.
This weather report brought to you by Austin's Weather Service out of Keystone Heights. Find Austin's Weather Service on Facebook and have a detailed local forecast sent right to you.
And hello, I am not David Rodgers, and you're welcome. Real quick wrap up.
See, that is just so long, man.
That was
Oh, holy cow. And the shots begin across the
yeah. Speaking of shots, right?
Speaking of shots, hey, real quick, let's take a look at the
Never mind,
forecast
I'll stop right
as we
there.
wrap up tonight's show. Let's take a look at the pollen numbers real quick so you guys can have them. Decent day today. Numbers will be on the increase slightly as we make our way through the rest of the week. Still not bad. I mean, we're still talking in the low to medium range of 3.7 to 4.7 on Thursday, and then, of course, moderating out as we head into the weekend. Numbers will drop over the weekend because we have rain more in the forecast. Tomorrow, we're looking at about a 20% chance of rain for the afternoon with highs in the 90s across the region. More rain to the north. Atlanta, Charlotte, Nashville, headed down towards the north side of Mississippi, areas toward New Orleans. Y'all are going to see some rain. But that frontal boundary is going to make its way towards us. But locally, for tomorrow, we're looking at hotter temperatures. A slight increase in afternoon storms by Thursday, late Thursday, headed into Friday. By Friday at the weekend, the storms are going to become more numerous, whereas that cold front makes its way across the region. We're looking at temperatures in the lower 90s, lows in the lower 70s. Unfortunately, the humidity level is going to be high. It's going to be just a summertime pattern that we are in, and that's just the way it's going to be for the next few weeks. So hopefully we'll get ourselves a little bit of a respite with the rain moving through. Temperatures will cool off a little bit as we make our way through Sunday.
Thank you, Michael, for that great weather report. It's been a great show, man. We went over a lot of things. Byron, great interview there with Justin Waters.
It was great.
Yeah, I thought he answered
was.
a lot
He
of.
did.
He did. He answered the questions right to the point.
Both.
Both,
It was
yeah.
good. And yeah.
So anyway, I've got a couple of things here. Jennifer says, great answers, Mr. Waters. Thank you very much. Mr. Vaught, old Sarge says, y'all have a good night. Sarge, I'll see you in the morning. Renee Stegall Shaw, ding, 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 ding. And we're so grateful for you guys. We're sweltering over here. Yeah, I imagine you are. We are too.
Yeah, big time.
So, oh, wait a minute. Who is that?
What?
Wait, who's that in the corner?
Oh, geez.
That
There we
is
go again.
me, Byron Bagwell,
There's no
with the man bun.
There's no man bun.
Yeah.
There is no man bun. None. No.
Just saying.
The traditional Scottish way that's no man bun.
Yeah.
That's not you, Byron.
No, that is not me.
Oh, okay.
Now that's
I
this is
cannot grow a beard like that.
Put it over his face, David. Put it over his face. Look, that's you, Byron.
business in the front, party in the back.
No, it's not a shoehorn. Thank you.
That's good.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, yeah. I do
what
want to
is-
say one thing. Very quickly. Y'all all know that this is a news reporting show. We give everybody their due time with our media and our media coverage. Doesn't matter who it is. So I do want to apologize to our viewers that when that phone call was received, I did not know that was going to go down that way. But I do apologize. I don't want to get into it anymore. I just want to apologize to everybody. I thought we handled it very professionally, and Justin handled it very professionally as well. So, again, you know, hey, those things happen when you're doing a news show and a live podcast.
Yeah, yes, it does. And I want everybody to know this, too. The Democrat candidates for that congressional seat
Are more than welcome here.
are more than welcome here. Now, I don't know that they will come on because our viewing audience is the way our viewing audience
Yes.
is. But we can pick and choose what questions we ask and keep some of the questions out of it. But we would like to know your ideas too, because there is a senator by the name of Joe Manchin
Yep.
who has good ideas at some point, not so good ideas at other points. But he has a different point of view on that, and that's what makes this nation go. It really is.
And we can curb that, like you guys said.
Yeah.
And yes, my hair is solid gray. Yes.
But it looks distinguished.
Yeah, it shines, doesn't it?
It does.
That looks good.
Byron,
You glow.
hey, I'll tell you what. Why don't we just dye? Why don't we just dye it gray and be done with the whole thing?
Gray and be done.
Do you know a guy named Sean Connery?
I do know Mr. Connery. I love Mr. Connery, by the way.
And the women just.
Oh, just there you go.
That's it.
And I wish I had the tenth of the look of Sean Connery, though. On behalf of Byron Bagwell, Mr. Dave Holland, Mr. Michael Heater, Mr. Mitchell Gunner for joining us, Mr. Justin Waters, I'm David Rodgers. God bless you. Have a great night. Thank you for watching. Don't forget YouTube tomorrow night at 7 o'clock if you don't have Facebook Live. Thank you. God bless you. Good night.
Good night, everybody.